Welcome to another Recall by Dataiku video. I'm Kenji, and I'm a data scientist and YouTuber, and today I have the pleasure of interviewing Christina Stathopoulos. She's an analytical lead at Google. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. So I'm very interested. I haven't necessarily heard of an analytical lead before. Can you tell me about what that entails?
Yeah, it's definitely a unique position, I would say. And the best way I could describe it is like a data translator. So in my case, I'm working with monetization of products through online marketing, digital ads, and I'm working with the data, technology, and translating that to the business side and our sales team. So I'm acting as this bridge between two teams that usually don't communicate and struggle to communicate. I'll be the ones communicating between them and leading data strategy, leading data projects, and really just acting like this data translator.
So you do still definitely need those technical skills. You're
Absolutely.
actively coding and doing things like that on a daily basis?
For sure. Yeah, I take my own projects to market. It's true that when projects might become very technical or to the point that I can't lead it completely on my own, I'll bring in our data scientists, our data engineers, and it's not like I leave it at that point. We actually partner together and I'll work hand in hand with them to develop the project. That's internally. And then as well, it's interesting because there's been cases where I'll partner with the client's data scientists or data engineers to also develop a project with them.
That's incredible. So you're working with both the data scientists, data engineers, data analysts, as well as the salespeople. That's, I think, something that's fairly uncommon in a lot of companies. What skills do you think really help you with your role in your specific domain where you're interacting with both these people that a more traditional engineer might not necessarily have to leverage as much?
Yes, you do need the technical skills. Like you mentioned before, I am doing the technical things and working with the data, but different from data scientists and data engineers, typically is that you need more communication skills, you need very good communication skills, and you need good data storytelling skills and data visualization. And why do you need this combination of skills? Because of the fact that you're working with the business side and with sales. You need to, and clients, of course, you need to be able to communicate the data to them. You need to be able to communicate the findings to them. And even in my case, sometimes I'm helping pitch to clients and we're using data to do all of this. When they bring me in, it's because we're using data to back everything that we're doing. So you need to be able to communicate those ideas, to take it all the way to market and pitch it. And in my case, a lot of times, a lot of data storytelling.
For a lot of people, it seems pretty straightforward to learn technical skills. We know there are great resources out there. We know how to go about that process. How might someone develop better data storytelling skills?
It's a very good question. I would say, first of all, practice makes perfect. Get some practice with it. And actually, a lot of this I learned through, first of all, just developing my public speaking skills. And then it's true you add this element of data into it. But first of all, work on your public speaking skills, and that you should start as early as you can. So for example, when you're studying, take every chance you get to be one of those that's presenting your project to the class. Or if you're already at work, volunteer to be the one to present your project to the team, or to speak up in meetings, or to run a training. When I'm public speaking, I'm also trying to tell a story and capture the attention of the audience. Now, on top of that, you need to add the data element. This is a little bit more tricky, but in my case, when I'm storytelling, I add in data visualization and I'm adding data elements to the story, but always keeping that story arc in the background, if that makes sense.
It's important to articulate what our findings are and be able to describe that to yourself, be able to put that into words. Also, I agree 100%, doing as many projects that are hands-on, that allows you to get reps in creating a story and maybe even starting with like a hypothesis. What are we going to get here? What outcome are we hoping to aspire to? Can we prove if that is something that is valid or not? That right there in and of itself is like the arc of a traditional story.
Sure.
You're attempting to do something, you see if it passes or fails, and then you go on with your life, hopefully better off than you were before. Part of storytelling is using different tooling, creating visualizations, these types of things. From what I understand, you've actually used Dataiku before a little bit, and I'm interested in how you, in general, use tooling, and also maybe more specifically, how you've used Dataiku in the past.
Yeah, so I have used Dataiku in both work and also in some of the trainings that I do inside and outside of work. I've used the tool before. And in my case, as this analytical lead, I would say there's mainly two features or two solutions that are the most useful. So first of all, the data preparation aspect. So being able to connect into different data sources, clean the data, prepare the data, and also do it in a very visual way. So they have this visual flow. It's very easy to work with to manage these data pipelines, to make changes, but you have a very visual way of doing it. And then as well, very useful for this type of position is all of the data visualization that it allows. So you can do the typical exploratory analysis, you can build simple graphs and charts, or you can go into something a bit more complex. So in my case, you mentioned that I've been working at Google. For the last year and a half, I've actually been working at Wayze within Google. So I'm using a lot of geospatial data. And I bring this up because Dataiku has geospatial capabilities. So you're able to manage geospatial data, to even do things like joining on geo common keys, and then visualize it, so plotting on a map. So they have that, and then of course getting into like reporting and dashboards. That's very common in my job, and you can do that within the tool as well.
I think it's really cool how Dataiku is working up essentially the entire pipeline. So you're starting with the data infrastructure, being able to visualize the data engineering pipelines. Then kind of at the other end of the spectrum where you're actually conveying value through dashboards, whatever it might be, through your specific work, you're able to see the value of it as well. I think that really showcases how versatile the tool is, how versatile the platform is. And I'm excited that you could come share about this here. If someone were interested in becoming an analytical lead or going down a path that's a little bit of a hybrid, where they're both sort of an engineer as well as someone that's communicating more directly with business stakeholders, how would they go about that process?
Yeah, getting into it, like you said, it's this hybrid role. And you even mentioned coming with an engineering mindset. I was an engineer before. I was a data engineer previous to all of this. So I did come with an engineering mindset, but I wanted to move closer to the business and take advantage of the fact that I do have communication skills and public speaking skills. So that's why I kind of moved into this area. But how can someone else get into this? So of course, what we spoke about before, work on your technical skills, and then work on those soft skills, especially around communication and public speaking. And then on top of that, I would say landing one of these positions, I find it's very unique. I think it's very valued within a company. So it also might be a very competitive position to get into. So another thing that I highly recommend to everyone is just to network, build a community, be a part of a community, but get to know those locally and even globally who are working in something like related to this or in the field in general. But network a lot, take advantage of social media, especially to the point where I always recommend to everyone, focus on building a personal brand. And you can do that through any platform. In my case, I do it through LinkedIn, but others do it through YouTube. Try to also build a personal brand so that locally and even globally, people associate you to this field. And honestly, it can bring opportunities for you. And it might even fall into your hands, this type of position.
Does it seem like there might be maybe an archetype for this type of role? I would imagine, again, anyone can train and upskill and move into one of these roles. But what type of person do you think would be a good fit maybe naturally if they're looking at different data career paths?
So you're going to be working with a lot of people, obviously. So I guess anyone that's a people person, or at least marginally
maybe like a little more on the extroversion scale.
Yeah, a little bit more. And I'm not an extrovert by any means, but at least having a little bit of those type of nature to you will help a lot in this position. If you are extremely introverted, if you really like to just be with your computer all day, then maybe you want to stay closer to the data engineering and data science. But if you want some time working with people, communicating ideas back and forth, then this is a good fit for you.
Amazing. And I know people of both types, and there's no
right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong. It's all about what you're most comfortable with. Christina, this was awesome. Do you have any sort of final thoughts about the domain, about Dataiku, anything along those lines?
Working in data, you have to recognize that the field is constantly changing from one night to the next, and technology can be outdated in no time. So I think also getting into the habit of continuous learning. Pick up that habit early on. In my case, I do it through books, but you can do it through courses, whatever it may be. But pick that up early on. It will serve very well for you going into the future, and it'll help a lot with your success on the job.
Amazing, thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in to another Recall by Dataiku video. If you want to learn more about Christina or myself, we've linked all of our resources in the description below. Until next time, good luck on your data science journey.